Hello everyone. Good day. We're group number two. We're going to report about the academic value of children's literature. But first, we will have our energizer. So yeah, Miss Quedado, you can have the floor. You can have sa'yo na the floor to energize our classmates.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you don't sound energetic at all. So let's start with this hangman. And are you guys familiar with this game? Can you raise your hand if you are familiar to this game? Okay, thank you, Miss Catalan Cardino. So you have the edge compared to the other ones because you guys are familiar with this game. So the mechanics of this game. Thank you. And of course, thank you very much for attending this recorded video, even if it's impromptu. So, for the mechanics of this game, so what you're going to do is to guess what's the letter that you can see here with all the blank letters. So, what will happen is I'll choose or I'll choose a participant, and every time you guys at the starting point you will have a 6 points, and every time you will this hangman will turn dark every time you get a wrong letter. So your points will decrease every time you get a wrong letter. So my clue for this one is child and adolescent literature, and that's all the clue that you can get from me. So let's start. Any volunteers for the first word? What's that? I'm sorry, you can see it. You guys can still hear me, right?
Oh yes, Miss
Ay,
Catalan.
that's Catalan. Let's start with Catalan. So, in
Yes,
starting
ma'am.
point, Miss Catalan, yes, you have 6 points. So, let me have a first letter, first guess from you.
Wait, I just want to clarify, is it a word or a letter? Because in
Ah,
hangman, diba, it's a letter.
Yeah, per
yes, a letter.
letter.
Mm-mm.
Per letter.
And yes, letter. You have 6 points as a starting point, and every time you get a wrong letter for this one, and you will get a minus.
Ah,
So,
okay. So letter T.
letter T
T.
as in
T.
T as in terabyte. T.
Terabyte.
Oo,
Okay.
yeah, terabyte.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Terabyte. Okay, that's great. That's a
Oh!
point for you,
Yes!
Miss Catalan. Okay, next letter.
Next letter. Next
It's still
letter.
Catalan.
Oh yeah, Miss
Ferdinand.
Cardino.
I mean, Ferdinand said that I'll give you a chance later. Thank you for
Ah, yeah,
reaching
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Miss
But right
Catalan
now,
muna pala
it's
with this.
Catalan's turn for
Oh.
this. Yes, for this word. It's all yours. All the chances
Yes.
are yours. Yes. Okay, so you got the T, right? Still 6 points left.
L.
N? Is that an
Yeah.
N? N as
L.
in
L.
L, as
L.
in
As
labidabs.
in,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
We
okay.
will give you a
I got
chance later, Miss Seta and Miss Cardino. Wait lang.
Okay, that's a sad point for you, Miss Catalan. So L is not on the letter.
Can
Miss
I
Cardino,
stop?
you can wait, right?
Wait. Wait. You're too energized for today. Okay.
Wait, don't get too hype about it. Okay? Let's start with the Miss Catalan again. I'm sorry. Even
You still have 5 points, right? You still
mm-mm,
have 5 points.
Yeah.
5 chances. So
Like
let's start
five
with
chances.
don't get too excited, Miss Cardino. I'll call you later, promise. Sure. And also
You have
Sebo.
to
A.
use it all for your recitation muna before we call
A as in
anyone.
apple.
A as in apple. Thank you.
I don't
Let's
know. But
see.
can,
Oh, that's
Oh,
correct.
yes!
You're
wait,
actually correct. Oh my gosh. I don't even know the word is.
same.
Okay.
uh,
Any
this-
guesses?
another guess from Miss Catalan.
You have 4 points pa.
Still five
Ay,
points.
five
Oh,
pala.
Hmm.
Okay. Any guess?
Um, uh, ah, and, what, H? My gosh, ang layo. H?
H
H.
as in hot dog. Okay, let's try that. H as in hot dog. Oh,
Oh no!
wrong.
You only
Um,
you only
Okay.
have 4 points now.
Miss Catalan. Oh my gosh, you can do this. Just a pro tip. Wow, feeling pro. Hindi, you
okay,
got
okay, pro tip.
vowels because words have a lot of vowels, right?
Oh, you.
You. Oh my gosh, out of all the vowels, huh? You.
No!
It's
Oh
wrong.
my god! Only
E.
three.
Kasi
E.
I thought kasi na we're going to switch pa. Ako lang pala sasagot. Okay,
Yeah.
Three.
E.
For the the confusion. So letter E, right? Eagle.
Yeah, as in elephant.
Oh,
That's correct. You got
yes, yes.
What word is that? Ah! C! Ay, wait!
oh
What?
what?
What letter? Energizer.
My gosh.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
clue? And may...
Clue. All I
All I can say is it was our one of our minor course when we were in first year.
oh, that's easy. Give
That's
it.
so Catalan.
I don't want to say
Minor
it to group
course?
kasi ano, you will say ano patay. First semester.
You're so kind. You're so considerate.
Oh yes, I am.
My gosh.
Sabi yung
Um,
sir Zia.
minor sub?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
My God. Sir.
Part of our
Extension.
Gen Ed. Basta yun.
Cardina, wait for your turn.
Sabi ko, ano,
Later we'll try to change the mechanics and we'll have someone to steal the answer, the chances.
R? R? R?
R,
R as in rabbit?
R as in rabbit, R,
what?
that's correct.
Wala.
Letter R.
Okay.
Seven,
Because
your
there's
next
only
turn.
three chances.
Letter R. You can,
My gosh, kala ko space kasi. Letter P. Pwede bang word na talaga? Wala lang points.
mm-mm.
Art appreciation. Kanina ko pa siya iniisip.
Ayan.
Yes, you got it
Congratulations,
right.
Miss Catalan. So how many?
I thought there was
How
a
many
space
points,
over there.
Nima?
So,
How many points?
She got wrong answer. Three wrong answers. So all her points is now just 3 points. Now, list
Yeah.
that down. Miss Catalan, you have 3 points.
Okay,
So,
next word.
let's try to have a little thing here. Let's start to have every letter, you have 5 seconds. Is that all right for everyone? So everyone can steal and have a chance. Is that all right? Can I hear a yes? Can I hear a yes if that's all right?
Oh yeah, yes. As
Yes,
Miss
thank you.
Catalan said.
So I'll have a 5 second timer. Ay, 10. I'll give you 10. Late ako eh.
Unahin mo na si Miss Cardino.
Yes, after Miss Cardino, let's have Sedo. Philippines. So every letter, you have 10 seconds. Every interval. So next, let Miss Cardino, please open your mic now. It's your turn.
Yes.
Okay. We have ampersand here. What's the word? Still, the clue is children and adolescent literature. That
Two words? Oh my.
yes,
Okay.
easiest one that we have.
Okay.
Very rough.
Letter I.
Letter I. Thank you for using the pro tip. Oh, letter I is next.
Letter I, ano correct? Is that correct?
Yes,
Next, letter N.
N. Okay, let's have the N.
G. Ay, tapos na.
No, 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 no. You can
Ah,
guess with G.
letter G.
Okay, that's correct. Again,
Letter R.
R. Looking good.
Letter E. Letter A.
Letter A.
Letter D.
Letter D.
W.
W.
And T.
Letter D. Okay, congratulations,
Ah,
Miss
tapos.
Cardino. You bagged the 6 points, the whole 6 points for this round. So next round we'll have Miss Sedo. Miss Sedo, are you there? Miss Sedo, should I give the chance to the others?
Hello po.
Yes. Okay, so dahil alipin tayo ng grades, so let's start this. Miss Sedo, your next word. Here it is. So I'll just count manually. Your first letter, please give it to me when you're ready.
Still relevant to this
A.
topic.
Letter A. Okay, thank you for using vowels, but it's wrong. -1 for you.
Oh, mali agad. Umpisa pa lang.
Girl, this is a recorded video.
Letter, ano? E?
letter, letter E as in eagle, right?
Ah,
Oh, letter E, that's correct.
Hala ka, wait.
I can't remember the. 10, 9, 8,
Eight.
7,
Letter,
6.
letter P?
Letter P, okay, as in precious. Truly yours. And
Letter E, ano yan?
P, there is P. That's correct for you. Another point secured, Miss Sedo. Next letter,
P?
10,
Ah,
9, 8, 7,
letter,
6.
ano? V.
V as in victory.
Yes.
Okay, let's try that.
No.
Oh, another minus point for you, Miss Sedo. Letter V as in vulture is incorrect. Another chance for you, another letter,
4 points na lang.
10,
P?
9.
Ano kaya yan? Letter I?
I, okay, let's try the letter I. That's correct. I'm having hard time to remember the. Okay, that's easy. This is easy, Miss Sedo. You can do this. So next letter, 10.
Nakakailang, ano na ako?
No,
Minus?
2.
2. You still have 4 chances
4.
to guess. This is so easy for you. Miss Gercy, maybe you have another clue for Miss Sedo.
Hmm?
2.
Clue, it's for children.
It's for children.
Yeah, it's for children.
Illustration.
Illustration. That's a good clue.
Illustration.
Ah! Letter C.
Letter C. Let's see. Oh, that's correct. Letter C is correct. Next,
Letter T.
letter T. Next,
Ah, U.
U. Okay, let's see. That's children.
R.
R.
Hala ka, ano yung, bakit kasi 2 words?
This is very easy.
4 points.
Picture.
Teacher 10, 9,
9.
8,
8.
7,
7.
Letter
6.
L.
L. Let's see if that's correct. Letter L. Ah, that's wrong, Miss Sedo. So another guess. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Ano,
3,
wait. Ano na? Letter, letter, wala, hindi ko na alam. Letter S?
S.
Ano
Oh,
na?
that's correct.
Wala ba? Ilan? Letter, ano yan, picture?
Very easy, B. 10, 9. I'll give it to another person. 8. Sino ako? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Letter,
2, letter what?
letter ano? Ano yan? Letter,
2,
letter H?
letter H. Why do you have questionable decisions in your life? Letter H is still incorrect. Do you want to give it to the others, the 2 points left? Or you're still going to go?
Pag nag-X na ba ako,
You have
meron akong 2 points.
no.
Hulo ko! Letter,
Mm.
letter O.
Letter O. Okay. Let's see if that's right. Okay, that's correct. That's correct. The letter O is correct.
Ano yan? Letter, picture, po. Ang
9,
hirap naman manghula.
8, 7.
Wala bang other hint? Hello, Venturina.
So easy
That,
na.
that's all I can give, miss. So I'm so sorry.
What? I'm sorry.
Other
I
hint
can't.
pa raw.
There's no other hint na. You still have 2 chances na. I just have 2 chances na lang B. So, clue. B, children literature. Literature.
Ala ka! Letter B!
Ano ginagawa sa mo? Letter B is correct.
What is
Thank you
what
po.
is the other
Sorry.
one?
Okay.
The last letter.
K.
Okay, okay. Then
Okay,
you
you have 2 points. We have two more.
So another word, let's make it quick. So who's next? Please type precious pretty if you want to answer. Please. Lunukin niyo yan. Precious pretty if you want to answer.
Precious pretty, yes.
Don't waste your time. Sayang yung points. Okay, raise your hand if you don't want to type precious pretty. Oh my gosh.
Extra do naman.
Thank you, Flores. Oh my gosh, I'm so I know. Thank you. Okay, next word for Miss Flores. Open your mic. So let's have okay, familiarize yourself with this. Another clue is children literature. So what's your first word, Miss Flores?
Letter I.
Letter I. Okay, good guess. Letter I is correct.
Wala. Um, letter L.
Letter L. Letter L
Oh,
is still correct.
Hmm, what is that? Letter letter A.
Letter A.
oh.
It's still correct.
Fuck,
What is
what
the
is that?
answer?
Letter N.
N. Is that N?
Yes, N.
N as in nuts. Okay.
Nicole.
Nicole. Okay. That's
Oh
Hmm.
no.
correct.
5 points.
I have no clue. Letter um letter R.
R. Let's see if R is correct. Letter R is
Nice.
incorrect.
Uh, no clue.
It's something about importance.
Import. Oh, letter. Ah, letter E.
Letter E. Let's try letter E. Where are you? So that's letter E. You got it right.
Ala, I have no clue. What is that? Uh, letter.
Letter
Letter. Uh, letter P.
letter P. Let's see. Precious pretty. No, it's incorrect. So next, 10, 9,
Letter. Ala,
8.
letter U.
Letter U. Let's see if that's correct. Letter U is still correct. Looking good.
Letter V.
Letter
Victory.
victory. Okay, that's still
Ah,
correct.
word. Letter. Wait. Letter. Letter. M. Oh no.
Letter M as in
Maria.
Maria. Okay. Letter M is correct.
Ala. Ah, is that academic? Academic value.
That's correct. Okay, academic value. So maybe you'll have idea what we're going to talk about later. But for you, you have two wrong answers, right? So you have 4 points. So list that down and we'll
Fair
collect
enough.
that later. So next words, who wants to answer? Is there anyone who wants to answer?
Hi, Miss Balagot. Do you want to try? Do you
Is
want to
she here?
try?
She's not answering. So let's have Faner. Faner, I think I'll get a zero. Baka ano, you're too mean to yourself, babe. You're so hard to yourself. Charing. So let's have Faner.
Bakit?
Hello. So who wants to
Sige, try ko. Pag nabokwe ako dito, di ko nasamdamin na.
This is the last one. Last word.
last word is the last word already.
Yeah, last word na. Hindi, last word na yung ano, yung kay Jessa.
Okay, so make it worth it, Jessa, for the last word that we have. Okay.
That's easy.
I can okay, that's easy. That's your word.
That's one.
Letter A.
Letter A. Start with letter A. Letter A is incorrect.
Pag inisa-isa kayong vowel, 5 agad yung mababawal. Letter E.
Letter E. Okay, let's try with letter E. Letter E is incorrect.
Ay, wait lang, wait lang. Wait lang.
Mhm.
Wait. Letter I.
Letter I. Letter I is
Ay, shit,
correct.
meron. Wait. Um,
10, 9,
letter M.
M. Let's try letter M. That's incorrect. Oh my gosh. Is this bakla? No.
Hindi ko ba kaya na to? Eh, ano ba yung clue? Wala bang clue?
I can't remember. Here's a clue.
Fast. About past.
Oh,
About
that's
past.
easy. Fast. This
About
is
past.
That's too
Wait
yes.
lang.
Why don't you try to continue the
Letter
vowel?
H.
Letter H, okay. We're getting somewhere. H?
Ay, alam ko na. Wait lang.
Puwede na ba sabihin yung word?
Okay.
Alam mo,
Oh,
baka mali.
Say it.
History?
history is correct. So, okay. Thank you
Okay.
very much for making worthwhile, guys. Thank you. I hope you're energized. Where's the letter Y? Ayan. So, you have Miss Paner have 3 points in her list. So, let's start the discussion. You guys.
So, okay. Alam nyo naman siguro, as you all know, we have three discussant. Me, yours truly, Teresa Venturina, Miss Quedado, and Miss De Los Santos. So the first discussant for our, yeah, we have to, ano nga pa pala, the objectives. Next slide po. So yeah, that's our the discussions. Oh yes, the objectives is the in the end of the discussion, students should be able to understand the different academic values of literature for children, learn the benefit of art appreciation and content subject area for children's literature, identify the brief history of children's literature. Miss Mariel, Miss De Los Santos will discuss the first topic or the first subject. Yeah.
So thank you for that introduction, Miss Venturina. So a pleasant day to everyone. And now, on our topic, we're going to discuss about the academic values of literature to children. So in our previous topic, on the report of the group one, they discussed about the different personal values of literature to children, and now we are going to discuss naman the academic values of literature to children. So ayan, let me first introduce myself. I am Maria del Santos, and I will be the one to discuss the first two academic values of literature to children, which are the reading and writing. So next slide. So many of you already may have reached the common sense deduction that reading ability, like any other skill, improves with practice, and many teachers and librarians believe that regular involvement with excellent and appropriate literature can foster language development in young children and can help them to learn to read and to value reading. So, as a future educators, it is important for us to know some of the landmark research studies that have confirmed these beliefs and that have revealed other important findings worth of literature for children. That's why I have here in the next slide, next slide. So I have here the table that summarizes the different studies and their findings. And this table clearly shows that literature can be invaluable in teaching children to read, and two procedures seems especially important because reading excellent literature allowed to children and silent independent reading of free choice material by children both on a daily basis if possible. So here, as you can see, we have the researchers, the subjects, and their findings. So in Butler, 1975, the his subject is from ages 4 months to 3 years old, and the findings here is reading aloud from children's picture books to a severely disabled child from age 4 months enable the child to learn to read. So next is there came in 1966. Can someone read this? May I call Miss Cardina to read the next findings of.
Okay. Darkin 1966. Subjects children who learn to read before attending school. Findings children who learn to read before attending school will read to regularly from the age of 3. Early reading and early writing are often linked.
So thank you for that, Miss Cardina. So in the next findings, in Cohen 1968, and his subject is 7 years old, he said that reading to children who have not been previously exposed to literature can help them learn to read. Next is Eldredge and Butterfield in 1986, and their subject is the 1,149 beginning readers in 50 classrooms. And their findings here is the use of children's literature to teach reading has a much greater positive effect on students' achievement and attitudes toward reading than does use of basals with traditional homogeneous grouping. So is next slide mo na, Precious. So ayun, merong iba't ibang research and subjects, yung iba't ibang researchers, may iba't iba silang findings, and to discover another truth, you must read between the lines of the table, as you can see there. And ang ang main point nila dito is who makes the books available and who decides to read aloud to the children and who makes the first decisions about what to read aloud and who makes a child's first experiences with literature enjoyable and who makes the experiences interactive by asking thought-provoking questions. And the truth is that there must be first someone thou that more than likely an adult who has the knowledge and willingness and patience to guide children to books. And who will this be ba? And syempre for some children, it will be their parents. And for many others, it will be their children or librarian. So next slide. Next slide, Precious. So next is reading. Reading ba? Uh, Several publications have important information for parents and teachers about the role of literature, among other things, in learning to read and in teaching reading. And Becoming a Nation of Readers, the report of the Commission on Reading in Anderson, Hibbert, Scott, and Wilkinson in 1985, they presents an excellent overview of reading and what works in reading instruction as based on research findings. So, ano nga bang value ng reading when it comes of literature to children? Of course, first, reading improves by engaging in the actual process, and regular reading of excellent literature can foster language development and help young children learn to read and value reading. So, next slide. So, next is the writing. So, since people tend to assimilate or adapt what they like of and they read and hear, children may, by listening to and reading literature, begin to develop their own writing voice or unique personal writing style. And by listening to and reading excellent literature, children are exposed to rich vocabulary and excellent writing styles, which serve as good models for their own speaking and writing voices. So, the acquisition of a larger vocabulary through writing offers young writers and better word choice for their own stories and devices found in books such as the use of dialogue and precise description are often assimilated into students' own writing. So, here in writing, children are exposed to rich vocabulary and excellent writing styles and which serve for them to as good mentor texts for their own speaking and writing styles. So I guess that's all with my part. So sobrang ano lang kasi sobrang extent. So now may I call on Miss Venturina to discuss the content area subjects and art appreciation.
Okay, thank you, Miss De Los Santos. This is the second topic. This is the second topic, and I am going to tackle this one. This is content area subjects and art appreciation. Next slide, please. So content area subject areas or content area subjects. In reading about and discussing children's literature, you will often hear the phrase literature across the curriculum. This means using works of literature as teaching materials in the content areas of reading, social studies, history, science, health, and possibly math. So yeah, literature is literally everywhere. Like you are not you can't live without reading. You can't live without literature because studies and research it's still in the literature field. Possibly math, it can help you identify or it can help you identify or solve a problem. In the science field, you can find a new word or an invention. History, the past events, social studies, all about our society. Yeah, it's not just for reading. It's all around us. Okay? Reading evolves all around any profession. Okay? The logic for this practice is sound. Many trade books contain information is relevant to the topics studied in school. Jargons. Yeah, jargons. You can read different types of jargons. That's why it said that for practice is sound. Okay? Next slide, please. Moreover, this information is presented through captivating, sometimes beautifully illustrated narratives. This is where the illustration books or picture books will come in. The information thus presented is interesting to students and therefore is more comprehensible and memorable. When you have an illustration, or sometimes, diba, you're getting lazy on reading some instructions kapag it doesn't have any illustration, or you have a visual type of sensory, for learning. It's, yeah, like, it helps you imagine things, or it helps you comprehend some things. Yeah. Few resources are available to the teacher that will help as much to make learning interesting and memorable to children as good trade fiction and non-fiction. Using literature across the curriculum is particularly appropriate today given the abundance of masterfully written, information relevant children's trade books available to teachers and librarians. Next slide. Okay, this is my last topic, which is art appreciation. Illustration in children's picture books can be appreciated both of its ability to help to tell a story. As I've said earlier, illustration books or picture books is here for us to comprehend or to understand things. Children will, for example, for children, if you illustrate a rock, a duck, a goat, or anything, they know. They will know the reality, some of the reality, some of the imagination. Yeah, they will understand different things when you illustrate to them because it is not complicated. Okay? There is much you can do in your classroom to instill a similar appreciation in your students. It takes only a moment to call your students' attention, particularly striking and unusual illustrations. By doing so, You show them that you value art. You can also discuss the artist's style, the medium used, watercolor, oils, pastel, etc., and how the artist's style compares to the style of others. In addition, picture book art serves as well as a model for applied art lessons. Okay, by suggesting to your students that they use media techniques and topics suggested by picture book illustrations in their artwork, you make good use of handy, valuable resource and yet in another way to show that you value this art. You can help to appreciate an art through different mediums or style of an artist, how it is beautifully illustrated, or how it is beautifully recognized by the students. Okay, next slide. From foregoing discussion, it should be clear that students are not only ones in school who can benefit from children's literature. It's not only solely for children. At any age, you can appreciate art. You can appreciate the literature. You can benefit from the literature because it is not complicated when it comes to children's literature. It is literal. Okay? It is illustrated. Okay? Excellent literature is rich in social, historical, and scientific information about the world and its people, and its great potential for developing the entire elementary school curriculum. Okay, next one, last slide. Yes, Miss Precious, is there any technical issues here? Okay. Okay. This is the last one, which is picture books. As I've said earlier, illustrated books in which illustrations are to varying degrees essential to the enjoyment and understanding the story. As I've said earlier, comprehensive and or easily understandable. For this reason, illustration in picture books are said to be integral to the story. The illustrations in picture books provide actual plot or concept information as well as the clues to the character traits, settings, and moods. But it is not always it is solely some of the picture books they only illustrated one type one illustration for a scene in the story, and it will also help the children to understand more. One specific illustration, it will help the students to have an imagination. Many children's books have illustrations but are not picture books illustrations. Some of you know when we were kids, have you ever encountered an illustrated books or illustrated the uh the books that are this thin, like yung yung nabibili lang sa tabi-tabi, like that. That's an illustration book. And then the picture book, it's all over. The difference between illustration is just one related scene when but while the picture books, all of the scenes of the story is illustrated. Okay. These illustrations are said to be incidental to the story. When well done, illustrations of this kind are appreciated and enjoyed by readers, but they are not necessary for a complete understanding of the story. Okay, that's it for my topic. Let's move on to Miss Kedado for our last topic, which is the brief history of children's literature. The floor is yours, Miss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gercy and Marielle. Yan. After learning about the academic values of literature, now we're going to talk about a brief history of children's books. So let's start. So as you can see, since the beginning of time, adults have found, they are found on entertaining their children through stories, through legends, through myths. But it was and sorry, and that is the time, and that is the pioneer of the modern literature that we have today, because it became a tapestry of children literature. So today literature the literature we have for the children is very enjoyable if among every age group. So even myself, I enjoy some of children literature because as Miss Gersie told us earlier, it's very uncomplicated. And I like reading things like that when I don't have a lot of time. So let's go and try to understand why the modern literature or the children literature today is like this and what really happened during before this time, before all the picture books, all the literature that we're reading during our elementary, and even after the high school, we still read children or adolescents literature. So let's start with the emerging of oral tradition. So just other just as just like any other form of literature, children literature grew from stories passed down orally generation to generation. We're very familiar with that. Remember when we were high school, were asked to read about epics or the itself. So epics is stories that was passed through generation to generation in oral form, but then after a while it was written, and that time after I, we're really familiar with that, right? The oral. I don't know about you, but there are families or mother and daughter or dad with their daughters and son, their children, they try to entertain their children, and it's still happening today. They tell stories. There are times there are books, but sometimes they just freestyle. They talk to their children in or tell stories to the children from the top of their head. So as you can see, after this emerging of oral tradition, there are also written literature that were found. So the Irish folk tales, it can be traced back as early as 400 BCE. However, in the Pachatantra from India have written folk tales that was found around 200 AD. And for the earliest version of Ace of Fables, there are versions that appeared on the papyrus scrolls around 400 early AD. Sorry. As for Imperial China, they also have stories through oral form. They are storytelling, and that boomed during the Song Dynasty. Song Dynasty was 19 I mean 960 to 1279 AD. Actually, the epics that was used or was invented was uh what it was with that time is still being used as instruction for the children in the China as of today. So next slide. However, for the Greek and Roman literature, there are no such equivalents that exist for the literature, the written literature. But they have Homer and any other storytellers of that era that can be entertaining or can be appealing to the children. So there is this time that Europe became the cultural center of the world. So instructive texts became increasingly common. These books, the instructional books, were written in Latin. So as you can see, Latin is once a lingua franca. So you can compare it in how popular or how much we use English globally today. That is how popular the Latin. Maybe not as popular as English because we have globalization right now. But Latin is a lingua franca before, and that is used for that's the language that was used for instructive text in the Europe before. So this instructive text is obviously for the purpose of is instructing children. So when the Middle Ages come, so literature not was written solely for the purpose of entertaining children. So there are children books, but it's not for entertainment purposes. So horn books textbooks containing basic texts like the Lord's Prayer and the alphabet will not appear until the 1400s. So in the 40 so books began popping around the countries like Italy, Russia, Denmark, and other European countries roughly a century later. Sorry about that. So after the oral tradition, after the emergence of that, we have the advent of illustration. As we heard earlier from Miss Kirsey about the illustration, the picture books, this has something to do with that. So let's start. So chapbooks or pocket size books, often folded rather than stitched together. As we know, right now we have books that is hardbound, softbound, but as you can see, it's just folded before. There's no such stitching, bounding. There's no such thing. It's just folded. So these were first books to be illustrated for children. So these books usually contain simple woodcut picture to go along with their contents, often popular ballads, folk tales, and even religious passages. As you can see, we heard about the what's that? The Lord's Prayer earlier. So during the 1600s, the concept of childhood was evolving. So the children was not a miniature adults anymore. They're not seen as just a tiny human being who is just like adults, just tiny adults like that. So children were seen as a separate entities, and they have individuality, they have their needs, they have their limitations. So after that time, publishers throughout Europe began printing books specifically intended for children alone. So this trend illustrating children books prevailed and the children literature grew in popularity throughout the 18th and 19th century. So let's see what happened. So John Newbery is a very popular, he is a pioneer of the commercial literature or the children literature today. Why? Because what did he do to be known like this? So he is known for as the father of children's literature, and mostly it was because he was able to show publishing children's books to be a commercial success. So he he commercialized, he advertised books for children. So he was able to what do you, supply what do you call that? Sorry. So he sell. So this may have been because he made mostly his money of selling medicine and by publishing for adults. But what really happened after he discovered that he can advertise or he can commercialize the children literature or children books, that he can sell it and sold it to the mass. So it boomed. And even after he died, after John Newbery died, his descendants were able to continue his business, his legacy. And until 1900s, this business of printing or selling children books is still good. I mean, he started look at this his works. It was 1751 to 752. But his business, as for his descendants, it still prevailed until the 1900s. So the first children's periodical that he made is called the Lilliputian magazine. So as I told you earlier, that's the year, as you can see. So that magazine contains stories, verses, riddles, and also chatty editorial. So he have a work named History of Little Goody Two Shoes in the year 765. So this book is, imagine being a pioneer, because his book was considered, this one is considered as the first children's novel. So let's see, how did John Newbery commercialize? How did he pursue buyers to buy children books? It's not really a trend before why did the children or the parents of the children really bought this books for their children. So his first book for the entertainment of children was a little pretty pocket book intended for the instruction and amusement of little Master Tommy and pretty Miss Polly. And that was year 1744. So as you can see here in the slide, it was intended, I mean, it is indeed a pretty book. It is still small, hence the pocket book. Small, neat, and bound in brightly colored paper. As we all know, colored papers, colors is very appealing for the children. And his target, his target is was children. So Newberry advertised it by being sold. This is how he did it. So he did not just sell, hey, buy this book for me. What he did is, if you buy this book to me, your children will have a ball or a pin cushion. So that's how he did it. So if you buy this book from him, you will have a ball for a boy and a pin cushion for a girl. So these toys are not just for entertainment. It is also for the record of the owner's good and bad deeds. So the more there are pins being stuck, so it's either the black side and the red side of the pin cushion or the ball. So every time there's the children or the child made a good deed, uh, they will be going to pin the black side of the ball or something like that. So that's how he did the commercialization of the children literature or the children books in his time. So as we can see after that time, here we have the modern children's picture books. So in the year 1920s, the books year 1920s, book could be mass produced in color because we have printing machines, we have the people there have more access to print things in mass. So not before, they are just folded. Imagine maybe it can be done manually, but right now it can be mass produced. I mean, the 1920s it can be mass produced. So and also the literacy became sufficiently widespread to make children pictures book a true industry unto its own. So this time, even the authors, they can live by just writing alone and publishing their books during this time because they can just write and it can be mass produced and it can be sold in every places in Europe that time. So because of that, there are many books that were popular that time. So we have Wanda Gag's Million of Cats. So it's very successful in his era and it's sold for more than million copies. Imagine that. So there are also picture books that was published soon after, The Little Engine That Could, Babar, Madeline, Curious George. So today, we have the variety and quality of illustrated children's book and has made them an interesting and desirable focus for rare book collectors. So children is not, they're not very, what do you call this? They're not really careful with their books. When you see a children, they're not, oh my gosh, it's a book, it's a gift from me. If you see an adult, they hate it when you do the dog ears, if you do this. But children don't care about that. They can throw their books, they don't care. So these book collectors have really a hard time for picking books with the pristine condition. So being a book collector, if you love books or children books specifically, it will be hard and it will take a lot of patience for on your side. So for the rapid expansion of children literature, it's not really there's not really a good explanation. Uh there is no reason why did children literature become very there's a rapid expansion of it. It's no reason at all. So maybe it's because of Newberry and how he pioneered the commercialization of the picture books or the children books. But it's not, it is not the only factor. We have to include the growth of sizable middle class because there are times that they're middle class, so there are more people that can consume things like this. So there are also technical development in book production. As I told you earlier, there were times the 1920s, it was there the publisher can mass produce books with colors. So and also there are also the new educational theories and the changing attitudes to childhood. So as I've said earlier, children were seen as a own being and not just reliable or just not mini adults. So, whatever the causes, the result was fairly rapid expansion of children's literature through the second half of 18th century. So that by early 1800s, the children book business was booming. For the first time, it was possible for authors to make a living out of writing solely for children, and they can become famous for it. So children literature as we know it today had begun. So that's all for the brief history of children literature. So may we have Miss Gracie Venderina to have these questions for us, for you guys. So Miss Venturina, are you still
Yes.
there? Yeah. So she'll facilitate the question and answer portion for us. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello. Where's the questions? Yeah. Yeah, questions about there. Oh, who can answer this first question? In all literature that you have read as a child, what do you remember the most and what is the academic value it has? Like, what do you think? What you remembered? What on what you read when you were a child, when you were a kid? Like, have you, have you read different types of books when you were young, when you were a child? Do you remember anything? Anyone? You can volunteer. You can just raise your hand. Are you all still alive? This is only 5 questions. 5 questions lang to. This is the first one. Hello? Yes. Miss Kabangunay, do you have anything to share? Do you have anything to share about, the book or a book that you read when you were young? When you remember, do you remember anything in your mind? why, why is no one answering the question? Miss Kabangunay, I am, you who? Are you here? Hello? They are not responding. Hello? Miss,
Respond, guys.
um,
Type if you're still there. Sure.
Miss Kabangunay or Miss Gacho? Miss Gacho.
Thank you very much. They're
Okay,
still
okay. Miss Kabangunay, can you answer this one, the first question? What do you think is the academic value? My mic, her mic can't work. Okay, you can type your answer, but who's willing to turn on their mics if it's working? Who's willing to turn on their mics? Okay, okay. You can just type your answer, magkakaroon ka pa rin naman ng points. Okay, Miss Balagot, can you answer this one, the first question?
Okay, so with regards to reading as a child, I actually don't like reading as much as you like it. I know you have read some Wattpad books, but as a child, I did not do that. I don't have any memories or likings
Okay.
that once, but I can share like about Harry Potter. So
Mm,
with that one, I can still remember. Could you please repeat what do we mean by the academic value?
considered the academic value? Yeah, academic value. Um, with the reading and writing, yeah, reading, writing, art appreciation, and content subject areas. What do you think is the academic value of Harry Potter? Is it reading, writing, or what is do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so with regards to the Harry Potter, actually it helps me to acquire some new knowledges. Like I the moment I've watched it, like I've learned new phrases, but I forgot it now because I have watched it a long time ago. But when it was still fresh in my mind, I have learned new phrases from who's that girl? What's her name again? I forgot her name, pero she's really bright and she has a broad vocabulary, and it really helps me to communicate, and it really helps me to learn new phrases and also search the meaning of the words, and also somehow it helps me to like create or write a good sentences, like construct a good sentences, since I have watched Harry Potter or even watch some books that turned into a movie. Okay, so that's it.
Okay, Miss Catalan, you can express your opinion or insights about this first question. You can have.
Ayan. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you well. You can
Okay,
continue.
thank you. So the first question is, in all literature that you have read as a child, what do you remember the most? So I don't know if Abacada is considered as an illustration book back then, because in Abacada,
Yeah, it's
um,
considered.
then that is the first book that book siguro that would I will consider it as an illustration book instead of a picture book, kasi it's all letters and it's all alphabets naman. So that is the very first book that I have read that gained that honed my knowledge in terms of reading and writing. And of course you will all agree with me na um that is the first material that we read back when we were a child. But in terms of the literature, as in novels, short stories, and such, and prose and poetry, I think that the first book that I have known is about the Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah, Jack and the Beanstalk or Ugly Duckling. I don't know. Back then, I was really fond of reading books. Um, there was one time that there was there is a phase in my child that we would always go to SMB Kutan, and I would just find the nearest bookstore or bookshelves. Then I will just borrow a book from them, I mean. Then I will read it all day long. As in, kasi pinapayagan ako noon na gumala-gala sa SM kasi we have a small business there. So it's okay for me to make gala-gala every everywhere sa SM. So I always read talaga. So I have tons of stories in my mind as a kid. Talagang binabasa ko. And the number one thing that I remember is the ugly duckling. Until this day, I I share it with my cousins and
Mm-hmm.
fam. And I've already told this before sa last meeting natin
Yeah,
kay sir.
I remember.
And the academic value there is that um wait, yung abacada, ang academic value doon is reading and writing. But in other cases, yung dun sa ugly duckling is mas naging fond ako, or I engage more kapag may pictures. Because in the eyes of a child, sobrang bright na. Sobrang bright. Napansin nyo, if you'll notice, habang tumatanda tayo, nag-change yung ano natin.
yung eyesight natin, yung gaano ka-bright yung paningin natin sa iba. Parang ewan ko, parang mas nagiging dull siya habang tumatanda para sa'kin. And yung mind kasi ng bata, it is so creative and profound na talagang, they are ready to, satisfy their curiosity. That's why the academic value in Ugly Duckling is the picture book, yung art appreciation. And also, we have here the content areas then. And content areas kasi as we grow up in schools, like kapag sinasabi sa instruction na color this red if it's true and color yellow if it's false. And in that way, there's always art in every subject that we encounter. Like, sabi nga ni Jersey, hindi lang din sa art, sa mapping natin nakikita, we can include it to other subject content areas like history, math, and such. Yes, kaya pansin nyo na ginagamit, ay, if you'll notice it, sa mga, when we do exam, when we experiment stuff, di ba laging ini-include dun yung creativity? Especially in essays when we pass papers on Word or in Canva, 'di ba laging nasa rubrics yung creativity? Why? Because um a child has this belief or perspective na pag creative yung nakikita nilang bagay, mas nagiging motivated sila. Mas na-engage sila to do stuff, na-inspire sila. And yes, that would be all for the question number 1. Thank you so much po.
All right. Thank you, Miss Aliyah. That was so informative. Okay, second question. Next slide, Miss Quedado. In all literature that you have read as an adolescent that is part of the K-12 curriculum, what do you think you remember the most and what is the academic value it has? Do you have anything or any do you remember the 21st century literature when we were in senior high school? There are a lot of literature pieces or literary pieces that are required to read. Do you remember anything of those books? Some of in our subjects, Greek mythologies like that. Do you remember anything about it? When you're young, 15, 14, like that, do you remember any Greek mythology in an English subject? Hi. Hello. I guess that's it. That's the to. Wait. Tanggal. Tapos ko yung recording.